Do you know when and where the first wave ran through the stadium? This trick, now known to all fans, was invented by George Henderson, nicknamed the Plague, the professional cheerleader of the Oakland Athletics baseball team. In 1981, during a match in the American Baseball League, he tried a new trick. Fans in different sectors of the stadium had to alternately jump to their feet and throw their arms up, so that a live wave flowed from sector to sector. At first, it was not possible to achieve coordination of actions. Even the rhythmic beat of the drum did not help, and the cheerleader's voice was completely drowned in the roar of the crowd. But Chuma did not give up. He invited active fans to boo those who did not pick up the general movement in time. A few more tries, and the fans of the Oakland team understood Henderson's plan. A wave ran across the stadium. As a true leader, you can replicate this wave in your firm by spreading ideas about how to work among employees. Enlist the support of colleagues and employees to implement a meaningful, productive business development vision that is acceptable to everyone. By joining forces with companions, you can move mountains. If you hold values like honesty, integrity, respect and transparency, people will follow you. In today's world, companies that act in accordance with these principles win the competition. Oddly enough, they manage to defeat firms operating according to the laws that were formed in the era of wild capitalism. The rule, the end justifies the means, no longer works. Companies are increasingly abandoning the outdated command and control system in favor of a new one based on joint management and collaboration. How did these major changes come about? Until recently, business had successfully applied a centuries-old model in which companies accumulated valuable resources, capital, land, raw materials, expertise and technology, and erected fortress walls to protect these treasures from competitors. Corporations were just as jealous of their distributors and customers. With the onset of the information age, everything changed. Knowledge is not subject to accounting, it is not limited by anything. Thanks to the digital revolution and the emergence of the internet, everyone has instant access to the most important commodity of our century, information. It was she who became the new engine of trade. Companies that have achieved success in these new conditions do not try to hide the accumulated information, which would still be impossible. On the contrary, they share it. The organizational structure of Google and Yahoo is a prime example of this. More and more people are working in partnership with each other, in united teams. The hierarchical principle of organization is becoming a thing of the past. It is being replaced by the interconnection and collaboration model. In these conditions, the advantage is given to those who know how to connect people to achieve common goals, in other words, to launch a wave. Transparency. The internet has given consumers more choice. Previously, the decision to purchase was made after visiting 2 or 3 stores, but now, choosing the desired product, you can view dozens of offers on the network. Through the internet, you can get information not only about the product itself, but also about the manufacturing company, and about the people involved in its creation. David Edmondson, the former CEO of Radio Shack, learned this from his own sad experience. When he took office in 1994, he listed degrees on his resume that he didn't actually have. A journalist for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram newspaper exposed Edmondson and his career came to an end. Information about executives and dishonest companies is instantly transferred from chat rooms and blogs to popular websites like The Smoking Guru and Drudge Report. A name has already been born for this phenomenon: whistleblogging, literally, blogging disclosures. Thanks to the internet, everything that happens in the company is now in plain sight, and this must be taken into account. Just do it. In the turbulent 90s, the slogan of the shoe giant Nike became a short phrase: just do it, just do it. These words became a symbol of a decade of dot-coms and the rapid growth of futures, when millions of fortunes were created overnight as a result of impudent speculation. Long-term values were of no interest to anyone. Everyone was chasing short-term profits. But over time, the situation has changed. As business transparency became essential, companies realized that just doing was far from the most important thing. The question of how they conduct their business became increasingly important. Nike continued to make top-notch footwear, but public opinion increasingly criticized the company for using sweatshops in factories outside the United States. The dot-com bubble burst, followed by a streak of corporate scandals. People have lost their former confidence in what seemed unshakable. The terrorist attack on the World Trade Center in 2001 heightened the general confusion. Could the new rules have saved the day? Application of rules in times of instability, people resort to rules. The rules help them to set the boundaries of what is permitted and to find reliable support in difficult situations. Nevertheless, such restrictions are not a panacea. Unscrupulous people will always find a way to get around them. Codes of conduct cannot replace genuine morality. Just because you have a legitimate reason to do something, for example, to evict a blind 80-year-old woman who delayed her rent for the first time in 30 years, does not mean you should do it. Company employees who do not show the expected diligence in their work may declare that their behavior is not contrary to corporate policy. Following lists of do it or don't do that prescriptions are typical of companies that focus on the what, which we should take as a rule of what we can do better than the competition. However, today companies are gradually shifting their focus from what to how we should behave in order to achieve our goals in an honest and transparent way. Business is moving away from mechanical adherence to simple rules. The big question for companies is no longer what they are able to do, but what they should do. In an era of universal transparency, such a formulation of the issue is not even determined by morality and ethics. It becomes a condition for business success. How, not what, as goods and services become more similar and interchangeable, smart companies gain significant competitive advantage precisely by choosing certain ways of doing business. It is necessary that your company is always positively oriented, not only in the market, but in relation to the whole society as a whole. To ensure a positive attitude, pay close attention to how the company behaves towards employees, customers, suppliers, and everyone. In a transparent world, it is very important to develop your how, and then no one can oust you from your positions in the market. Of course, cynics might argue that this approach runs counter to human nature. But this is not the case. Scientists have proven that the propensity to help others is inherent in us from the very beginning. This behavior is called altruism. Studies show that children as early as 1.5 years old systematically show signs of this behavior. Apparently, reciprocity, the desire to relate to others in the same way as they relate to us, is an innate, not acquired trait of the human person. The meaning of this property? Trust breeds trust. Many followers of Adam Smith have misinterpreted his classic work A Study of the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. It is believed that in this book Smith described the wolfish laws of market capitalism. At the same time, one of the main postulates of the author is overlooked: the parties involved in a trade transaction receive mutual benefit from it. This axiom, coupled with value-based thinking, allows the entrepreneur to focus not on what to do, but on how to do it. Business does not have to be cruel and merciless. There are other, better models for him. Leadership concept: your company will not become value-driven by itself. To do this, she needs a strong leadership structure, which necessarily includes the following. 1. Vision. True leaders are not distracted from their main goals. Their attention is absorbed not by momentary tasks, but by the assessment of long-term prospects. 2. Networking and engagement. Your noble ideas are not realized without the support of others. Explain your goals to employees, involve them in the work to achieve their plans. 3. Power and responsibility. Leaders must defend their beliefs, persist in pursuing their course, and take responsibility for implementing it. 4. Planning and implementation. You cannot set off on a journey from point A to point B without having prepared a travel plan in advance. Let dreamers dream, and leaders must lead people. 5. Creating continuity and continuity. John F. Kennedy set a daring goal for his country: to send a man to the moon. The president himself was assassinated in 1963, but 6 years later the task was completed. Kennedy succeeded in the main thing: to provide NASA with the necessary resources and organize the correct control system. 6. Contrary. There will inevitably be obstacles in the way of your firm. Be prepared for this. Achieving these goals will take a lot of effort. 7. Opposition of complexity and duality. When making difficult decisions, keep the picture in full and avoid oversimplification. The path to the goal is always winding. 8. Using the power of charisma. If you are afraid to be a leader, you will fail. Leadership should not be based on formal authority arising from official powers, not on intimidating subordinates but on respect from others. Otherwise, it will most likely be short-lived. 9. Inspiration of others. Lead people by setting an example of serving your common values and pursuing common goals. These goals should not overlap with your personal ambitions. 10. Living by principles. Striving to get immediate benefits has a short-term effect, but does not help to achieve long-term goals. To do this, you need to follow the principles. 11. Intransigence about the truth of the moment. Leaders inevitably make mistakes. Be prepared to acknowledge them so you can fix them and move on. 12. Reflections, especially on your behavior. Superficiality does not adorn a leader. Always take time to think about your decisions. 13. Overcoming the point of no return. Insolence and leadership are synonymous. The path of least resistance leads nowhere. Always be ready to step outside the boundaries of what you have known. It is there, in the new territory, that the most important discoveries are made. 14. Passion. Starbucks is holding on to its market share not only because its cafes make good coffee. This company is passionate about providing its visitors with the best possible experience. Do the same for your clients. 15. Optimism. It is impossible to achieve lofty goals without a positive attitude. U.S. Army General Colin Powell famously formulated this postulate: optimism is a factor in increasing efficiency. 16. Striving for significance. Only by setting yourself a big goal will you stop marking time. The road to self-regulation. It is not an easy task to always follow the company's how. Your firm needs to communicate responsibly and effectively with everyone. To do this, you will need to implement and develop a strong corporate culture that is highly self-regulating and based on a common understanding of the company's goals and how to achieve them. Self-regulatory group members behave in the right way, not because they respect the rules, but because they are motivated to do so by moral and ethical values. Belief in a noble purpose inspires people to work honestly for the common good, so a value-oriented team is in control of its activities and strives to fulfill its mission, achieving success for the company. This is possible only with a high degree of mutual respect and trust in the team, in every aspect of activity, every day, at every stage of work. Trust and respect are unthinkable without transparency. As you pursue your goals, first build people's trust. It will provide you with support when you need to take risks. In turn, risk will entail innovation, ultimately contributing to progress. In English, the initial letters of these keywords form the word trip path. The concepts they represent will open the path for your company to success in today's hyper-transparent and hyper-connected business world. About the author. Dov Seidman is the founder, president and CEO of a business ethics advisor to corporate clients. Graduate of Harvard Law School, University of California and Oxford University.